Hi, I'm Nikki Gray, and I am the new worship arts director here at Dickinson First. I'm so excited to be here. I am coming over from Pasadena, First United Methodist Church, but I'm actually originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and me and my husband, Corey, and my two boys, Patrick and Sammy, we live over in Pearland, and I came to Texas about 2002, and I've been here on and off since then. I got my bachelor's and master's degree in vocal performance, and that's what brought me actually to Texas. So I got my master's degree at U of H in vocal performance, so opera and the classical world of singing. I came into the worship arts world ever since I was a little girl. And I formally wasn't trained in it, of course, so I didn't know really what I was doing, but what I was doing was actual worship arts. And since I was a little girl, I would cantor in church, and I sung in the choir, and I got to be in all the pageants and the plays, and I was a spectacular littlest angel at the age of 4. And that was forming me, and that was shaping me, and I would do small ensemble work, and then I would sing special music and solos, and I would help decorate for Advent, and all these things, little to my knowledge, was forming who I am today. I was doing very well as a young artist. I had been singing roles like Blondchen or Adina with Opera in the Heights. I spent time with Lake George Opera, lots of regional opera, and doing very well as a young artist. And it came to a point in my life where I had to make a choice. I had to make a choice of either following a path of opera and getting an agent, moving to New York, and going after a dream that I thought was my dream for a very long time, or choosing a different direction that I knew was the right direction. Because I was finding far more fulfillment out of what I was doing in church at the time and leading worship in a contemporary rock band for 20 people. And that was fulfilling my heart. And although I had this big vision and I knew what I had to do this was gonna fulfill my heart. And so I made a decision that's when I would follow what God's plan was. And so that was my first, I guess that was the first journey into the worship arts label. And I took a full-time position in Pennsylvania as the director of contemporary worship in Butler, Pennsylvania. And I was there for 3 years. And in the meantime, was dating my husband, Corey, long distance. And so we got married, and it made more sense for me to move back to Texas. And so I did, and that's kind of my story. Worship is where the triune God meets us as we celebrate the Lord's table, as we petition for ourselves and for the world. It is a place where we baptize. It is a place where we meet in fellowship. And God prepares us and then sends us out into the world. As a worship arts director, we get to use our imaginations. I get to help people. And like I said, ever since I was a little girl, being this angel or cantering, I would always find those moments in the music or in my costume where we could find the dazzlement and the imagination behind what we are doing in the worship arts world. It's not just, here's the script, read these words. No, we get to add life to it. We get to do that. Of course, we have to glorify God. That's what we are called to do, right? And that we are gonna glorify Him for the grace that He pours over us. But it's through that same grace that we get to do it with imagination. And we get to do it with color and excitement and and sound. We get to use piano. We get to use forte. We get to use all these different flavors. And that's exciting. And that's why I love the worship arts. This is a tough one. I think that I have a favorite hymn for like a season of my life. And this is a big transition for me. Coming from a faith family of 10 years, this is a big transition. And so I think right now my favorite hymn is It Is Well. And it goes back to John Wesley's covenant question of, how is your soul this week? And I think it's important to ask ourselves this question, not just in times of transition, on a regular basis, but in these times of transition, I find myself asking that question more often, just to keep myself focused and to keep myself in check of, it's gonna be okay. And it's uncomfortable, but it's gonna be okay. And so It Is Well, the story behind it, some of it, might be legend, but Stafford was on a ship to pick up his grieving wife, and they had just lost their daughter in a shipwreck, and the wife had survived. And it is said that as he was traveling to pick up his grieving wife, he had penned the words of, "It is well with my soul." And we're gonna face turmoil. We're gonna face those storms of life. We're gonna be in transition. We're gonna be in times of great joy. And God remains constant, and his promise still stands. So, how is your soul this week? Keep reminding ourselves that God is good and that God is faithful.